How you doing?
All right, let's talk about this a little bit. So these are those old school. These are like analog, digital, not digital timers. I want something digital. The thing with these, they work and they're fine and everything, but you can only do so many things with these. You can only set up like 2 or 3 timers. And it's crazy, like every 6 hours. I want more than that. So let's talk about these digital ones. Other thing. So there's a couple versions of these. This is what we're working with. This is a digital timer. This is the timer itself. There's no screen on it. Take a look at the box, and this is what we have. So it comes with the actual sprinkler itself, and then it comes with a little hub, and this is what allows it to connect to the internet. And this is what everything looks like. So basically, first thing, like when you're installing this, make sure you're on a 2 gigahertz network and your phone is connected to the same network as your device. Like I've seen a lot of reviews, and me having a technical background, I just want to tell you that off the bat. But this is what connects to the internet, and you're gonna have that inside your house, and this is what's outside. There's a Bluetooth version and there's a Wi-Fi version. This is the Wi-Fi version. And then this is the little button for programming. And then this is where you put your batteries. These are all battery operated. You want to try to keep these in a shady spot if possible. Probably going to build something around them because the sun's going to kill these. But it's that simple. Lock that on there. And one end goes to your tubing, one end goes to your hose. Same sort of setup, right? Pretty simple, straightforward. Small, lightweight, simple. RainPoint has a lot of versions of these depending on how much water you need and what areas. This is good for a little 1-part setup. I got 2 different ones, so I'll show you the different ones. I just want to show you real quick what I was working with before. This is the analog. Again, nothing wrong with these. They work if you only need 1 or 2 waterings. I want a lot of waterings. Look at all that gunk. Our water sucks. I gotta add a filter. It's gross. I like to use these quick connectors on all of my tubings, on all of my devices. It allows me to quickly disconnect these if I want to move things around. I swap things out so often. Don't forget to add your tape. You have to go the opposite way of what you're twisting so that it doesn't untie itself. So I'm going to twist it to the right. So in this case, I'm going to put this onto the left. So when I'm twisting it to the right, it doesn't the tape doesn't come off. This came with this tape. It's plumber's tape. You can buy it on its own, but I haven't seen very many differences in this versus the stuff at like Home Depot or whatnot. So I'm just going to use this. Hand tighten it. You don't want it too crazy, but that keeps it from dripping out. Check this out for the quick fitting. That's what I'm talking about. You just pop it on or off. You do want to make sure these are hanging for gravity, but so this, I am going to pull this back so that it's not on the ground. But let's go and take a look at the other one. Now this is the other version I have. This is a 2 spout version versus just the one. So I'm still going to have the same amount of zones. I'm just going to have them in different areas. It's really up to you how you want to try to figure these out. But the point is you have so many options. I love technology. This is what they kind of look like, what I was talking about. You have 2 outlets, but this takes up the whole spot. Power off, power on. Now this outlet has power. If I want to plug something in, you click the button, you got power. Power off, no power being drained. Alright, so you get the apps downloaded on your Perspective store, and you pretty much have to add both the device and the hub. Alright, we're in the RainPoint app. I already have everything added. If you need me to do a video on how to add these, let me know. It's pretty straightforward. Of course, make sure you're on the correct Wi-Fi, the same Wi-Fi as your devices are on. But you pretty much go to add device, and then there's a process you have to go through. You click, it has pictures and everything. You just click on whatever device, and then you have to select the hub. Pretty much it's step by step. It's so easy. I didn't have any issues. Guys, this is super easy. It gives you the steps on the screen. You just follow the prompts and do what it says. As long as you're connected to the same Wi-Fi as your device, you shouldn't have an issue. And then it pretty much, you have to add the device as well as each hub. If you have the hubs close enough, you can connect 2 devices to them, but they have to be the same sort of device. And now you can also go in here, and I'm going to show you the different options in here. You can choose your location. There's a map. You choose it. It tells you the weather. So pretty much you can go through here. You can switch locations and whatnot. You add the location on here. You put in your address, and then it's going to show you the temperature theoretically. I haven't verified how accurate this is, but after you change that information, this is where you can tell it, Fahrenheit. We're in the US, so we're not Celsius. But there's various options on here. You can just go on and click, and you can edit those if need be. Alright, so the thing about this is I love, you can make little areas. I have a backyard and a front yard. My backyard, I can add this to it. I haven't done that yet. In fact, if you wanted to, all you have to do is you click on whichever one you want. I made these names. You can make these names wherever way you want to. And go to device management and click on the little plus, and then I have the devices I can add. I do want my smart zone. These are both my backyards. Click confirm. Done. So now I have the both of them on here. You don't necessarily need the socket. You can do whatever way you want, because there was options to add the sockets. I don't need it. So right away, what I'm going to say is, the thing that I don't like is that I have to have all these sockets. It's different for each one. Like the 2 at the bottom, the 2 Bluetooth timers, both take the same socket, but they're in different locations. Theoretically, if I had the same devices, I could use the same sockets. I would think with them all being RainPoint, you would think that they could all use the same socket. And then this smart 2-zone water timer has a completely different socket. So it has one that kind of looks like this one that says Smart Socket Hub that has a plug on it. So you can plug things in. There's a little button on it. You can turn the plug on and off. So it doesn't completely take over your entire area, versus these ones at the bottom both use the mini socket. There's just one button on it. There's no bypass with the power. But it would be nice to have a hub to be able to put every device on. But it is what it is. So it's really simple. So let's go on to our front yard, for instance. Theoretically, like I said, it shows the temperature. So when you can go in here and check out your weather. Assuming you don't have a weather app on your phone or whatnot. But what it can do is you can do a weather delay based on the weather and whatnot. It also, I can manually start and stop it, which we'll go into later, and you can set it for the amount of time that you want it to be at each time. You can also go into, these are the schedules. And that's what I kind of like about this is the analog ones, you kind of only have 12 hours. Within 24 hours, you can do 2 at 12 hours. And that's kind of it. Doesn't give you much versatility. But on here, you can go on here and you have your different options. What I generally do is just do the normal schedule. And then you select your AM or PM, you select your time, you select how long. I always do mine in like up to 7 minutes depending, and you can just select the days. It is that simple. So let's say you want to do alternating days even, you can do alternating days. Like, so you have these Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Go to normal schedule. You can go on here and make different schedules. So like I have these based on different things. So like summer, for instance, they're gonna get 2 waterings. I just click this on. I can save it. And then so now I'm getting 2 waterings a day. Or I can do it as 3 waterings a day. Or I could do it as 5 waterings a day. You can do it as many as you want. I think you can do up to 12, I think it said. But I don't know why you would use 12. You can do it for whatever you want it to be. You can do it, certain days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And then at X amount of time, like at 9:30, I only want that to happen. I want that to happen every day, and then, when it gets summertime, maybe you want to wake it up with a little bit of water. And then once it gets really hot, right before it gets really hot, maybe you want to hit it every day for a couple minutes. And then at nighttime, you want to hit it another time. That's kind of things that I do with my watering. I don't do, I'm not so specific. But yeah, as you can see though, like I water in pots. I don't water long, like 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and another 3 minutes. Like I really do not water that long. It makes more sense to water more often, and with the frequency being changed, so a bunch of 3 minutes versus 2 hours or whatnot. Just make sure when you're selecting duration, you have hours and you have minutes. Make sure you're doing the minutes and not the hours. Ask me how I know that that's an issue. Not gonna go into it. But yeah, you have well draining soil, and to me it makes so much more sense to be able to just go through here and just have it going more, because like my plants love it. All my plants get watered the same. If you're in an area, like I don't agree, I want to work smarter, not harder, and sometimes that means there's a lot more setup at first versus having to have issues later on. There's front end time. It takes a lot more time to set up at first versus having to consistently do something. And once you have it set up, you're good, right? If you have fast draining soil, I know that I water in all my plants based on the gallon per hour of the drip emitter. Any one of these, they all have the same amount of time. I basically calculated how much time it takes for water to go from the top to the bottom of that pot, and I changed the drip irrigation emitter based on how big that pot is. So smaller pots, maybe get a 1 gallon per hour emitter. The bigger pots, maybe you know, a 25 gallon, maybe those get like a 5 gallon per hour, or one of those ones with the adjustable ones. And then that way the water goes through, it hits the tubs at the bottom, the plates, and then it doesn't overfill. Like a lot of the issues with watering in pots is that people say that you lose, you know, nutrients and water just gets wasted. Not in my case. So you have this all set up, and now I know every time I have a specific size pots, I use 5 gallon, the 15 gallon, and the 25 or 30, like somewhere around there for the most 98% of my stuff, right? So I know for every time I'm using one of these, it requires 2 of these. Every time I use one of these, you know what I mean? So plants love water and oxygen. Okay, they love it. I don't care what it is. My cactuses get the same sort of treatment. That nothing dies from overwatering anymore. You can do it the other way, where people have wood and things like that in their planting. But the thing is, you're not to be moving plant pots around. Like, why would you want to do that? Work hard. Oh, it's raining. Let me have to go run outside and move all my pots. You can do it that way. I want to do smarter. To me, this is the smarter way to do things. It's less difficult in the end. And then so if we look at like a 2-zone, it looks a little bit different. You have your 2 different zones, right? You have your zone 1 and zone 2. You can of course edit any of these names. And that's the same thing with the other ones. You have your manual. You can change how long with this little rotator, and you make sure you're on the right zone. You have 2 zones. You have to make sure you're on the right one. Move that back. Whatever. And then you just click play, and it does the watering. And with this one, the thing is, you get notifications. That's what I like about this one, so I know what's going on. Notification. You set up your notifications. And that way, if something like this goes off on an accident or something, I'm like, wait, that's not supposed to happen. You know, you have it in the back of your mind. And then you can go to your plan. Again, you have Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday. You have all your days. You can make 3 different plans. You can do it as a mist or as an irrigation, based on the type of system you have. For me, I do drip irrigation, so I do drip irrigation on time. You can do it by quantity, so based on how much the water amount that you want it to come out. So if you want to do liters or gallons, you know, you have 15. You know that your tree takes 15 gallons. You can do it for 15 gallons. This is how much water I need, how often I need that water, right? For me, that's not the way it works for me. I like to do the time. And then my duration. Again, make sure the one on the right is the minutes. One on the left is the hours. Do not do 7 hours. Again, ask me how I know. And then you want the frequency. How many days a week do you want this to go? And these are the options for mist. If you have these set up as a mister, I mean, realistically, it's just about how do you want to apply it to whatever way you want to do it. But anyway, let's go outside and let me show you how my pots work in action. All right, so these are my pots. I do like these adjustable knobs, but every one of these, my pots has a container at the bottom, the pan, and I don't waste any fertilizers and things like that because it stays in that pan. I have this water. Because I make all my soil, it waters, goes down to the bottom, it'll fill up that pan based on the size of the pot. Use 3 different size pots and 3 different emitters. It's that simple. It never overflows, and in the summertime it'll absorb that water, especially if you're using the cloth ones. It's so simple. It just takes time to initially set this stuff up and figuring out all your calculations and things like that. But once you have that set up, like, it's set it and forget it. Like, I can go on vacations and things, and I don't have to worry about this because it's connected to the internet as well. But I also want to just show you this in action, right? So you're outside, you're setting up a new tree, a new plant like these ones were. And essentially, I really want to just go in here and see if everything's working. So I don't want to go to have run all the way over to the hose or anything like that. I just open up my app, bada boom, bada bing, tell it how many minutes I want it to go, and I push play. It changes on my app, and just like that, we have water coming out. I can now go down here, I can make all my adjustments. I don't have to run around back and forth. It's so simple. Just do things the easy way, right? My adjustments are done. I don't have to go run back. I just post out my phone and I click stop or pause or whatnot, and it stops. It is so simple. Work smarter, not harder. I know this is kind of a long video. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, you want me to go more in depth on anything, let me know. But I really love these RainPoint ones. At this point, I've had these for a year now, and they've been a godsend. One of these mornings, though, I'm going to get you guys out to your own backyard. Get out there, garden. Stop relying on these stores. Things are expensive. It's such a rewarding hobby. Let's grow!